Alrighty, welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Yesterday we had a 12 plus hour stream and we finally finished the story of this incredible game, this incredibly long game. And I wanted to talk a little bit about my general feelings about the game today. I'll probably give a more concise review or whatever at the end of the Let's Play, as well as probably in a review video. But before we get started today, I wanted to do a quick poll. I'm not going to say anything about the poll. I just want you to answer it truthfully as you possibly can. And I want you to answer it based on your feelings, not what you saw online, not what you think is the right answer, not what you think the general answer is, not what you think my answer is, just your answer, okay? So go ahead and quickly answer this poll, everyone in the chat. I'm gonna bring it up here, and I think it'll update live, yeah. I wanted to get a general feel for what people thought of the ending, you know, without any other input. And, you know, keep in mind, this is my community, and it's 7:30 at night, so this is like really just my community right now answering this. So there's going to be some bias, not because people are going to be disingenuous, but just because you guys are followers of me, which means you probably hold some of the same values and thoughts about video games that I do. And so, like, you know, it's just going to be a bit of a tilted poll. But having said that, we have plenty of people in our community that have their own opinions and disagree with a lot of my opinions. We're very open here, so like, I don't expect everyone to agree with me, but just saying, it's going to be a bit biased because that's just the way it goes with stuff like this. Like, a lot of you guys share the same opinions I do because we're all, you know, you follow me. So I expect a little bit of bias here. Having said that, I'm curious, like, what the general idea from you guys are. I went back and watched the reactions in chat during the final, like, cutscenes and stuff. It was pretty mixed. There were a couple people that were obviously against the changes. And I think that, I mean, that happened with Remake 2, where, like, people were kind of going around sniping streams that were doing the ending so they could talk about how much they hated it. I see a lot of that on YouTube as well. People like to go on the final episodes of Let's Plays and just air their grievances, which is fine. I said at the start of the ending, I was like, hey guys, give your opinions, because I'm not looking at the chat anymore, so feel free to give your opinions. So, I mean, people were giving their opinions, and that's fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with that at all. There were a lot of people that were not just giving their opinions, they were being, you know, not nice, and so that was an issue. But no, everyone giving their opinion, and the people that were saying, like, that they really disliked the changes, like, that's totally valid. I totally get it. Don't think that was an issue or anything. It was definitely not. Looking at this poll here, though, we only have 33 votes here, but looking like, actually kind of surprised. I expected more liked it than loved it. I had said at the start of my little spiel about it, I said that there was one thing I disliked, and that was Aerith's death feeling a bit flat. But I think that I liked enough of the ending to probably put myself in that top category. Because that was really the only, like, change that I disliked. is it safe to say that regardless of changes, everyone thought the ending was like good, like cool, like fun, like, you know, exciting, like it was a good ending, taking away the fact that it's a remake of an original game? Like just the video game itself, is it pretty fair to say like everyone had fun with the ending? Had, you know, great music, great visuals, awesome boss fights. Like, yeah, I think that's why I phrased it like this, because I think it would just be all green if we said, like, was it a good ending? Like, yeah, it was a good ending. Just some people disagree with the changes, but I think everyone can agree it was a really good ending. I think everyone can agree it was a really good game. I mean, from what I've seen, now that I can finally look at reviews and look at kind of the general feelings around the board, the game is definitely getting a lot of love, and I think it really deserves it. I wanted to say a little bit about just the game in general. I know we're not done with it yet. And I know we're not going to be done with it for like 9 years, but, you know, I said when Remake came out that it was one of the first games in a long time that I felt like was truly worth the $70. And even back when it came out, it was 60, right? So it was the first game in a while that I felt like was truly worth $60. There was a lot of games coming out at the time that I was kind of burnt on a lot of games at the time. And the game truly felt like it held my attention and had stuff for me to do for a good 60 plus hours. So that was one of my favorite things about Remake, regardless of the craziness of the ending or certain things that I disliked. I still loved Remake, but, you know, even though there were some things that I disliked, I think that the general feel of the game that I had was like, man, this was so worth the money, you know? And that's kind of my big takeaway with this game as well, but times like 10. This game might be like the most bang for your buck game I've played almost ever. I mean, like, I mean, at least in terms of content, because there's games that I've gotten more gameplay out of. I've played Celeste for thousands of hours and I paid like $15 for it. But that's the same game over and over that I've made my own playability with. This game genuinely feels like if I were just gonna 100% the game and then never play it again, this is like a $200 game. Like, it's crazy. It's insane. Like, the bang for your buck here is like unreal. So regardless of anything else, I just gotta say, like, this game is really good just as a video game. I think as a video game, I think this game is like low-key a 9.5 out of 10, not even like doing an actual review of it. And that number may change as we do post-game, but just off the bat, I already feel like it's one of the games of the year. As a remake, I feel as if it respected the audience more than Remake. Because I felt like, real quick, this, the guy I have to play cards with is in Nivelle somewhere, but it's not showing me where. So I'm wondering if I have to get the towers to unveil him, because normally it just shows him on the map. So I'm going to go get the towers here, and then we'll see what happens. So I think that Remake did a really great job of respecting all of the fans of the series. But the one big gripe across the board is that the ending didn't respect the audience as much. Some people liked it, some people didn't, but I think going at it from like an unbiased perspective, I think that it just didn't respect the audience as much as the rest of the game did. It tried to make it more epic than it needed to be. It could have just been, here's the end of the first game, see you in part 2, but instead it tried to make it like, it almost felt like the end of the trilogy happened at the end of Remake, you know? Like they tried to shoehorn in so much epicness into this ending. And I think that partly that's a good thing because... Can you get down? You know, we waited 10 plus years for the game. They weren't just going to end it on Motorball, you know? Like, we waited so long for Remake that they needed to have an epic finale. But trying to shoehorn in the Whisper stuff, like that's the kind of stuff that could have waited for part 2. They could have just made part 1 the greatest version of Midgar ever, and then tried to kind of, or even like imagine if the ending of Remake was like exactly like the original, but then at the very, very, very end, there's like a hint of the Whispers, you know? Like, oh, what's going on with the Whispers, to kind of hype up part 2. I feel like that would have gone over better with the community than making it this huge spectacle that didn't really feel Final Fantasy VII by the end of it. It felt more Kingdom Hearts by the end of it. But my point with all that is, regardless of what you think about Remake, my point with all that is, I think that this game did a much better job of respecting all of the audience. Where, like, yes, there is stuff that's changed, but almost every single change feels like there was a very specific reason why it's there. The craziness and whispers and multiple worlds and all that is toned down a lot more in this one than Remake. Yes, it has its moments, don't get me wrong, but, like, the Zack stuff was very short and to the point, and mostly only really affected the story at the very end. We weren't constantly, you know, Zack wasn't like constantly jumping into portals and appearing and being like, Cloud, you have to protect Aerith or something, you know. It was really all saved for the end and was there, but didn't really change a lot. It was more of just a theme of like, we have to save the one world that matters, yada yada. So I think that it just respects the original more. Now, some people are still gonna say like even the fact that the Whispers exist and the fact that Zack exists and all that is already too much, and that's fair. But you know, I think that it's better than Remake in terms of respecting the original, which was probably the biggest complaint of Remake from what I saw. I think everyone thought the Remake was a great game. I think that everyone thought that it had flaws, but all in all, people thought it was good. But the one big complaint that I heard more than anything was like, oh, the ending is crazy. The ending has too much going on, too much craziness, too much Nomura, too much Kingdom Hearts. It's too wild and away from the original. So I think they really took that to heart. They still wanted to tell the story that they wanted to tell. They didn't let that stop them from continuing to make the game they wanted to make. But I think that they did tone it down enough to make most people happy. Those people that are like, any change is bad, they're probably off the boat anyways, in my opinion. So there's no real need to bend over backwards for them. I would never want them to bend over backwards for them anyways, but you know, from a business standpoint, there's no reason to bend over backwards for those people because they're already off the ship. They hated Remake, and if they bought Rebirth, they basically wasted their money because they're gonna hate this too. So, you know, is there no other tower? Is that the only tower I need? What does it say about... don't think it does say anything about Queen's Blood in my intel or anything. I guess I'll just go... Guess I'll just go to Nibelheim and see if anything happens. So yeah, that's kind of my just general feel of the game. I think that it's an amazing game. I think that it respects the original more. It's still obviously not gonna make everyone happy, but the biggest complaint about Remake was that the ending was too far, and I think that they reined it in. They told the story they wanted to tell, but so much of this game is still just Final Fantasy VII, with changes that they needed to make because it's a game in 2024. But you know, I think that they did a better job. So I think on both fronts it's better. I think it's a better game, and I think it's a better remake. You know, and man, is it a good game. I mean, I still have to finish everything, but from what I've seen, man, what an incredible game this is. And I think what blows me away the most is the fact that it's so much bigger than Remake, but it's still just as polished as Remake, which is like insane to me. You know, like that just is truly nuts to me. Just on a technical level, that they were able to pull this off, and it works as well as it does. I do have a bunch of well, a couple Ask Me Anythings to go through from yesterday. I want to answer some of the stuff that you guys are saying now, though. I don't really agree with your take on Whispers in this game. I don't think Whispers are actually like a force of fate anymore. I think the design changes show that they basically just represent Sephiroth's will and the Lifestream's will. I don't... What take are you disagreeing with? I didn't say anything about the Whispers being fate. I said the Whispers were fate in Remake. I never said the Whispers were fate in this game. I said that potentially the White Whispers are being controlled by Aerith, but that's like the only thing I said about the Whispers. Yeah, no, I didn't. Maybe someone else did. Have you read the most recent interviews with Square employees in the Washington Post? They talk about the importance of having a fully working Highwind for Game 3. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're gonna need that. And I'm sure they will have it. Unless they, like, change engines and can't do it or something, but... With how ambiguous the ending is, the developers must have known it was going to be controversial. I mean, that's the point. It's a build-up for Part 3, you know? I mean, a good game is controversial, let's be honest. If Aerith just died in the same exact scene that happened in the original and then the game ended, it would have been like, wow, who's buying this? Who's talking about this? Who cares? Am I 100%ing it? I'm doing way more than that, buddy. Do I have any thoughts on the weapon you have on Cloud, given most players will use it for the ending and how well it works in those scenes? I honestly feel it suits Cloud better than the Buster Sword. Hope it comes back. It is pretty cool. I like this weapon a lot. Number one, I didn't get very emotional with Aerith's death because of all the teasing. Same. I really don't know how difficult this story would be to follow for new Final Fantasy VII players. I think as long as you played Remake, you'd be alright. If you didn't play Remake, you'd be completely lost, though. Which is maybe another criticism to give, is just to say, like, this isn't called Remake 2. This isn't called Part 2. It's called Rebirth. So some people might genuinely buy this not knowing it's a second game in a series and be pretty confused. Because it does not do a very good job of, like, explaining much of what happened in Remake. I thought we'd have some big scene where they, like, just literally explained every scene from Remake. Because Square loves to do that. Especially given that it's not called Part 2. But we really didn't. So I agree. If you just played this game, you'd be lost. Which, I don't know if that's a fair criticism to get. Most people would just say, well, don't buy it if you don't know what it is. But, you know, I do definitely agree that's probably the case. Do you think Remake Trilogy was made for new fans / is okay for them to play? Well, yeah, I mean, that's why they made it. That's like 50% of the reason they made it. If Barrett goes, yo Renzo, which party member would what you cooking? And who actually is cooking? I think Yuffie says what you cooking, but Cloud's the one that's cooking. Yeah, that was one thing I didn't mention yesterday. And I did see some people complaining. What are your guys' take on there not being an Aerith lowering into the water scene? Here's my kind of thought process on that. For one, that's one of the scenes that got memed the most ever since the original came out. Because everyone's like, oh, he drowned her, blah, blah, blah. And two, I don't know if it really fits with their whole idea of, like, Cloud thinks she's still alive or could potentially be going insane. If he had a vivid memory of placing her into the water, then he would, like, that would hurt that line of thinking, I suppose. So that's kind of what I thought. It is kind of a shame that we don't have a remade version of that scene since it's so iconic, but I just think it wouldn't have really fit very well. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. I understand that there's a lot of people out there that hate how many changes the remake has. And I think that is a valid opinion to have, don't get me wrong. But I do think if we have this entire 7-hour ending and you're really going to be like, but he didn't put him in the water, like, that is a bit of a, like, nitpick at that point. Like, that's a bit silly to be like, well, he didn't put her in the water like he did in the original. Like, that, at that point, you're getting, like, way too, like, at that point, I'm starting to say, like, just go play the original at that point. Like, if you literally can't even cope with that one scene being not there because it doesn't really make sense, like, I think you're kind of nitpicking at that point, from my perspective. Like, I think it is a shame that it's not there, but if you're actually saying, like, that's greatly upsetting to you, like, you know, getting your pitchforks and going on Twitter and being like, Nomura, you're gonna pay for this, I need my lake scene. Like, that's insane. Like, that, I mean, that's one little tiny scene in a 9-hour ending that hit all of the big points that we needed it to hit and more so. So, I mean, that's just kind of crazy in my opinion. They do have what? A recap? The recap must have been so quick I forgot it then. I mean, I know they said some stuff, but I don't remember there being like a really crazy recap, like that would actually, if you had never touched Final Fantasy VII or Remake, would give you like everything you need to know. Oh, that's right, there's that thing in the menu. I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about in the game. Yeah, okay, yeah, I mean, there's the menu thing. There's the menu thing. I still think you should probably play Remake. Like, I don't know if a movie does it justice, but you're right, you're right. There is that thing on the menu. True, very true. Turns out the Tricera tank was in the game, they just changed its design. Macerlos is called Heavy Tank in the Japanese version, and the top half of its body is reminiscent of a Triceratops. I'm gonna have to check that out. It's definitely not the same, you know, the same effect. I think that Cloud learning that Aerith is actually dead will be part of the live stream sequence, and we'll see the burial at the water as one of the big parts. Maybe. That's a good point. And I mean, that's another thing that goes back to, like, I told so many people that hated Remake. They're like, oh, the Whispers are ruining it. It's going to be Kingdom Hearts now. And I was like, just wait for the second game, man. Like, just wait for the second game before you, like, go off on your tangent. Because everything can change, you know? And, like, with the Zack thing, everyone was saying, like, oh, Zack's in the game. It's going to be multiple timelines, multiple universes. It's going to be literally freaking Avengers Endgame. It's going to be nonsense for the whole rest of the... I'm like, dude, just let him cook. And sure enough, yes, it was multiple worlds, but it was really just a device to tell a story where Sephiroth wins in all these other worlds, and we're trying to save the one world that we're in. It didn't actually truly affect the story in any, like, insane way. It's not like Zack appeared and saved Aerith or, like, some craziness, right? So, like, just let him cook. Like, you can't just play the one game and be like, well, you know, I know everything that's going to happen now. Like, they're going to change stuff. And I feel the same way about this, oh, well, there's no lake scene, or, oh, the ending is too crazy. Like, let him cook. Maybe we get to the live stream scene and we find out that Cloud did lower her into the water, but he forgot, so we didn't see it, but actually it happened, and then it's like revealed to us during the live stream scene that, like, oh my god, he actually did do it, you know? Because like I said, if we saw Cloud do it, then it wouldn't have the same effect. It'd be like, oh, well, Cloud knows she's dead, right? Because you literally did that. But since we didn't get to see it, now it's like a question, like, wait, did he do it? Did he not do it? Are we going to see it later? It's called good game design. It's called good storytelling. So, like, just let him cook. Stop saying, oh, it doesn't have this one thing, 0 out of 10. You know, it's just not fair. And again, you can have that opinion, that's fine. But to, like, you know, yell it from the rooftops and try to get other people to agree with you and argue about it, it's like, you know, let him cook, you know? My remark regarding new players previously was meant in another way. I think the entire multiverse is far better understandable for people who played the original and know what is actually supposed to happen in the original. Well, I don't think the multiverse thing has anything to do with the original, though. Like, that's what everyone thought. Everyone thought, like, oh, the Whispers are the old fans, and we're screwing the old fans by changing fate. But what it really meant was there's other worlds where Sephiroth wins, and Zack and Biggs randomly survive, but then die anyways, and, like, all those are, like, the negative worlds. And we're living in the positive world. It had nothing to do with the original game. People are trying to say it's a sequel, and it may still be. It may still be. We still haven't seen part 3. Again, let him cook. But people were saying, you know, I said this a while ago, but I'm sick and tired of people telling me that they know everything and that they're right, because the games haven't finished yet. People will come in my chat and be like, no, it is a sequel. Like, I'll say, like, oh, Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they're like, don't you mean sequel? It's a sequel, you idiot. And it's like, the series isn't even over. You know nothing. You know literally nothing. You have a idea, you have a theory, but it's literally nothing until all the games are complete, because they could easily retcon anything you're saying, or they could explain it away in some way. Like, you don't know. You have a theory. I'd love to hear your theory, but don't come on here and tell me I'm an idiot because I don't know that it's actually a sequel to the original game. Like, you're making, you know, I'm tired of people saying that. And they do the same thing with my in-depth looks, where I'll give a theory in my in-depth look, and they'll say, actually, the developer said in this interview in 1947 that he thought that it's actually this way, and your in-depth is wrong. And it's like, I'm sick of people thinking they know everything about a game they didn't develop, they didn't write, you know. Everyone has their fact that they know. So, but yeah, no, I actually think that none of that. I mean, from everything I've seen so far, I'm on the bandwagon of kind of my own. What I said was my own canon, which was the original has its own canon, the original plus compilation has its own canon, and then remake has its own canon. And I think remake's own canon doesn't even touch the rest of it. But who knows? Part 3 ain't out yet. We could literally, part 3, we could jump through some portal and end up in 1997, and they're like, actually the whole time they've been playing the original game or something. Who knows? Could be Nathan Drake playing Crash Bandicoot at the end of part 3. You have no idea what's going to happen. But I do think that whole theory thing, which is one of the most obnoxious theories, whether or not it's right or wrong, the people who believe that theory are the most obnoxious people for some reason. They're always shoving it in people's faces. Actually, it's a sequel. Actually, you know, I don't understand what it is about that. You know, we can be nice about that theory. It's a good theory. It's a cool theory. But it seems like everyone that has that theory just thinks like, no, it's a fact. No, it's a literal fact. It's a literal fact, and I don't know why you'd ever think anything else. It's weird. I don't know, and none of the proof of that theory even holds that much weight. They just saw Zach in a different dog, and they're like, well, I'm right. Maliceros looks more like a dual horn. Maybe that's the one that I thought was a dual horn. Well, yeah, you know, maybe it was I hate to say this, but maybe it was a big content creator that said it, and then they just go around parroting it or something, and they just want their favorite content creator to be right, which is unfortunate. Please don't do that to me. And if anything, tell people I'm wrong. Tell people, you know, I love the guy, but he's just wrong about everything. Like, he should, you know, but I love him. He's a great guy, but he really is wrong about everything. Don't get into arguments with people on my behalf. I have this part that's really nagging me from the Zack Timeline World thing. When they are in the reactor and they say no Mako, all gone, used it up. Where did it go? The life stream is big enough surely for Shinra to use it up for centuries. It's supposed to be well, yeah, that is a bit weird, because like I had kind of figured that world was like a couple years later, but well, I don't know if it was a couple years, because if you look on like the world map and stuff, like the entire area surrounding Midgar is gray, and so like, and Midgar hasn't been at full speed for that long. I don't think. I don't remember the lore behind when Shinra made Midgar, but I don't think it had been around for that long, so I don't know. Them sucking up the entire world's Mako in a few years isn't like the craziest thing ever. It does feel like that's a bit quick, but I don't know. It's possible. Especially if you think about, like, if they were continuing to build more and more as well, like maybe in that world they had really hiked up their, you know, they had made like 20 more reactors over the course of the last 5 years, you know. So all right, let me look at some of these Ask Me Anythings from yesterday. PDX said, I commend you for holding it together during all that. I cried a lot for death all the way to the credits, reliving that again after 27 years, pulled at the heartstrings. That's good to hear, you know, that it affected you in that way, because I did really love the scene, but it definitely didn't, like, affect me in that same way. The other Aerith scene, though, with her as a daughter, as a girl, little girl, and some of the other past scenes definitely got me, though. Have you found yourself in the classic RPG point of, I won't use that elixir, I'll need it later? Not really in this game, just because there's so many items. I'm not sure what that one is asking. Oh, is that the only ones I missed? I think those are the only ones I missed. Okay, there weren't that many. Oh, wait. How did you feel about the Loveless play, Aerith song, and seeing Jessie? I loved the Loveless play. It was really cool. Alright. No, I don't. I think I actually did say everything I wanted to say. Or if not, it wasn't important enough to remember, I guess. Stretch. Question about hard mode and remake? Sure. It's not here. Oh, this could be it. Just says question marks. And I haven't accepted any side quests. Oh, those red eyes were creeping me out.
Back again, are we? What is it this time?
Huh?
I'm the manager of the manor only on paper. I know next to nothing about it. Records indicate it was built as a research facility on land borrowed from the village back in Shinra's early days. The work carried out at the facility, however, was apparently quite sensitive. Pretty much all the details have been redacted. Really makes you wonder what they're trying to conceal. By the way, you spent an awful long time inside Shinra Manor. What were you doing in there?
We needed to use the terminal.
We fought a vampire?
That's all, was it?
Why do you ask?
Well, you see, ever since your visit, I've been hearing this strange voice. A woman's, coming from inside. I know this sounds crazy, but you don't think it's haunted, do you?
Hardly. Besides, you're the manager. Ain't it your job to investigate?
No, I don't have the clearance to set even 1 foot inside. Regardless, I know what I heard. It wasn't just the wind rustling through the trees at night. Someone was weeping, almost musically. It sounded like a woman wailing.
For real?
I'm afraid so. And given that I didn't hear a thing until you went inside, it's clear there's a connection. Why not take some responsibility and go investigate for me?
I think I'm gonna sit this one out. Hey,
Come on. I'm sure it's nothing serious.
Did you manage to see the connection the temple made between Lovelace and Genova? I'm not sure. Did hard mode actually change the bosses like attacks and AI? Yes. Hard mode made a lot of changes. That's what made hard mode so great. I'm hoping this game's the same. Especially with how long this game is. If hard mode actually makes changes, that gives this game like freaking 200 hours of playability just off of like beating the game twice alone.
you're Shinra? Shinra? We keep watch to make sure the patients.
I'm genuinely like confused as to whether or not I'm supposed to be finding this on my own or if like I need to activate it. Because everything in this game needs to be activated. Like if it's not on the map, then it doesn't exist. But like I don't know what else I would do to activate this because I've beaten everyone there is to beat. The only thing I could think of is maybe like I need to do some of the side Queen's Blood stuff and that gives me like more rank or something. But I didn't think that affected rank. Maybe... I don't know.
Are you heading out? Then be careful. We won't be able to come to the rescue if anything should happen to you.
Yeah, not only that, but I think hard mode's going to be harder in this game, which is also awesome. It needs to be harder because there's so much more to do in this game that you need to be incentivized to do all of it. So I really hope hard mode is like super mega hard. I think it's going to be. She takes the shape of the goddess mentioned in Lovelace at the very end when the Cetra are explaining how she wove her deceit amongst humanity. Huh. That sounds really cool. Yeah, I heard about that quest that isn't working on this patch. I hope they fix it soon. That's kind of a big shame, but... You know, maybe it... Like, should I do this quest? Because it sounds like spooky, but I really doubt it has to do with Queen's blood.
The actor is currently under investigation.
Queen's blood stuff doesn't show up here either, other than just cards collected. I just want to go back and read what the guy said again. I know he said something about Nibelheim, but I don't remember if it was like more specific than that. Can you guys tell me if this is the Queen's Blood quest? Because I'm pretty sure it's not. But I want to make sure before I walk away from it. It's not? Okay. I should look up what he said. If I can find it. Because if I'm supposed to find this on my own, then I don't want to like... I don't want to like cheat and just look it up. But I feel like I'm doing something wrong, like it's not popping up because it's not ready to pop up yet. What if I gotta go to Gilgamesh Island and like play him or something? Let's see, where was... When did I do the last Queen's Blood fight? It was like right before the date, I think. Yep, there it is. Man, I gotta go do more Chocobo racing. Chocobo racing is so fun. He has too many arms, I can't defeat him. Come on. Okay.
Letter? What letter?
You remember, don't you? The end call. I hung it on your door. I signed it in the proprietor's name.
So that was you.
Forgive my subterfuge, but I was in dire need of a skilled player. And you certainly did not disappoint. You were even able to best me. Which, while impressive, won't be enough. Not if you intend to hold the Shadowblood Queen's card in your deck. That foul thing is the source of this nightmare. The very embodiment of the villain herself. Through the card, she feeds on the wielder's life force, claiming their strength, that she may one day be reborn. Countless players have succumbed to this vile curse. And now one more death is all she requires to return. Cloud. Find the sorceress. She who rallied the people. She who deposed the queen, the Emerald Witch. Her card sleeps in Nibelheim with a monster of chaos. And there it shall remain until you can defeat
Vincent?
her wielder and prove yourself worthy of her power. Hurry, Cloud.
Okay, so that's our hint.
Chaos.
Her card sleeps in Nibelheim with a monster of chaos. Okay. Well, that's actually something to go off of. Chaos. So maybe it's not this quest, but I feel like the mansion's a good place to start.
Well, I don't hear a damn thing. So, case closed. No need for us to overstay our welcome. What are you doing?
Be quiet. Listen.
You hear something I don't?
I feel it below us.
Well, I don't feel anything. But you know this place better than we do. If you're willing to lead, we'll follow.
What do you mean, we?
Scared.
Me? Scared? I ain't been scared a day in my life. I was even voted bravest buddy back in the day.
Bravest buddy.
Of course you were.
Man, this is ridiculous. That guy was convinced there's some kind of ghost in here, but I'm not buying it. I say we just turn around.
Getting cold feet?
Of course not. Besides, it wouldn't be our first paranormal encounter, like the Gee. They were ghosts, I think. What was that? Y'all heard it, right?
Loud and clear.
Sounds nothing like the Gee we know.
Sounds like someone moving furniture.
We'll soon find out.
Vincent, what's the deal with you and Sephiroth? How do you know it?
Our bond is unique. I'm to blame in part for the evils he's unleashed. I've had many opportunities to purge him from this world. Unfortunately, I couldn't pull the trigger.
Don't beat yourself up.
Oh?
I don't know if you can kill him. And even if you could, I think he'd stick with you. Somehow.
Quite the rosy outlook.
I don't remember this area.
Wait.
Oh, this was actually after we got captured. We had to make our way back
You're
up.
going to need my key card. It'll grant you access to the lower levels.
Well, we're in this deep. Stop moving that furniture.
Hey, Vincent. You got any idea whose voice that is? Like, seen any women wandering the manor? Maybe some gal got stuck in a coffin.
Unlikely. A female staffer once lived here, but she's long gone.
Then, who else could it be?
Do I have to keep repeating myself? As I said, we'll soon find out.
La 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 la, not listening.
I gotta say, those subtitles suck. It's nowhere near what it sounds like.
This floor is where he conducted his combat trials. Countless subjects were slaughtered here. Disposed of, never to be mourned.
Now I know you're just screwing with me. Well, I ain't falling for it. No, sir.
Shouldn't it be getting louder?
Keep moving. The simulator is up ahead. Can't proceed further until we complete the trial. Best of luck.
Well, ain't that something? I have no idea who's in my party.
Greetings and welcome, my lovely specimens.
This asshole again?
Today is your lucky day. You'll be participating in a series of combat simulations. Few are permitted to take part in mine. Be grateful for this honor. Well, without further ado, let us begin. I look forward to analyzing the data gleaned from your deaths, messy as they'll be.
There's 4 of them.